My name is Juma, and I am an old man now, but the events I am about to tell you happened many years ago in our village of Nyaguta. Even now, when I sit by the fire with my grandchildren, the memory of those days still chills my bones. Nyaguta was a peaceful place, where the mornings were filled with the sound of crowing roosters and the scent of freshly tilled earth. Our people farmed diligently, and the rhythm of life followed the seasons. But within the walls of one home, a quiet suffering was taking place, one that would shake the entire village. It all began when Keto, my childhood friend, lost his wife, Akini. She was a good woman, full of laughter and warmth, and she left behind their only son, Baraka, who was only 6 years old at the time. In our culture, it is not good for a man to remain without a wife for long, especially with a young child, so the elders arranged for Keto to marry Nafula, a woman from a neighboring village. Nafula was beautiful, tall, and sharp-tongued. She arrived in Nyaguta with baskets full of gifts and a bright smile that soon dimmed behind closed doors. At first, she played the role of a devoted wife, cooking for Keto and pretending to care for Baraka. But we began to hear whispers from the other children, whispers of harsh punishments, of nights when Baraka went to sleep hungry while his stepmother ate her fill. One day, Baraka showed up at my home with a swollen eye. I fell while fetching water, he mumbled, avoiding my gaze. But when I looked at his thin frame, the bruises on his arms, I knew something was wrong. I told Keto, but he dismissed it. A boy needs discipline, Juma, he said. Women can be strict, but that is how they raise children. We should have intervened there. The village should have spoken louder. But we were silent, bound by customs that made us hesitate to interfere in a man's household affairs. And so, Baraka's suffering continued. The breaking point came during the dry season. Food was scarce, and tempers flared. One afternoon, Nafula accused Baraka of stealing a piece of dried fish. She dragged him to the center of the compound and, in front of the household, beat him with a thick branch until he collapsed. He did not get up. A neighbor, Mama Nayabuk, saw everything and ran for help. By the time we arrived, Baraka was barely breathing. My heart pounded as we rushed him to the village healer, but it was too late. That night, he took his last breath. The wailing of women filled the night sky, and rage gripped the village. The elders convened under the sacred baobab tree, and for the first time in many years, they passed a judgment as severe as the crime itself. Nafula was banished. She left at dawn, carrying only what she could fit into a cloth bundle, her beauty now a mask of fear. Keto, stricken with grief, withdrew from everyone. He never married again, and his days were filled with silence. He spent most of his time at the village graveyard, tending to his son's resting place, whispering apologies only the wind could hear. His farm, once the envy of many, fell into neglect, and his once strong body became frail. The man who had once laughed so easily became a shadow of himself. For years, the people of Nyaguta spoke of Nafula's fate. Some said she wandered the forest, lost and tormented by the spirits of those she had wronged. Others claimed she had sought refuge in a distant village, living a life of exile and shame. But no one ever saw her again. The elders warned that her name was cursed, and no mother dared name their daughter Nafula thereafter. As for the village, we learned a lesson we should never have forgotten. Silence in the face of cruelty is a sin of its own. We vowed never to turn away again. The elders decreed that every child in Nyaguta would be watched over not just by their parents, but by the whole community. It became the duty of every adult to ensure that no child suffered alone. Every year, on the anniversary of Baraka's death, the villagers gather beneath the baobab tree. We light a fire, and the elders tell his story so that it is never forgotten. Children listen with wide eyes, and parents hold their little ones closer. It is a painful reminder, but a necessary one. We have not lost another child in such a way since. Even now, when I hear children playing in the fields, their laughter reminds me of Baraka's short life. His story is a warning, passed down to ensure that no child in Nyaguta, or anywhere else, suffers in silence again. And as I sit by the fire, watching the flickering flames dance in the darkness, I pray that Baraka has found the peace in the next life that he was denied in this one.